What does it take to get on the Forbes 30 under 30 list? Hustle, a great idea, or building something that nobody thought was possible? Today, I'm speaking with someone who's done just that. Hi, my name is Ekta Kumar, and today we'll be speaking with Abhishek Bhattacharya. Abhishek is a Forbes 30 under 30 Asia honoree and the co-founder of Whrrl, India's first agri-fintech blockchain venture. Whrrl is a platform that helps farmers get fast, affordable loans by using their crops as digital proof through blockchain. From tokenizing crops to helping farmers secure over $330 million in loans using blockchain technology, today's episode answers your questions about what it's like to navigate business school after launching a major venture, the future of blockchain, and what it really takes to land on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Let's dive in. So I understand that you got a chance to be nominated on the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and congratulations on that. A spicy question that a lot of our viewers were interested in asking is, how much did you pay for the Forbes 30 under 30 endorsement? Because people always online assume that it's a pay-to-play system. So what was the actual application process like? Did you nominate yourself, or did somebody else nominate you?
Great. All right. So, spicy question before even, I get to introduce myself. All right. We'll start off with that next, probably. I'm surprised at, hearing similar questions on WhatsApp and WhatsApp groups, whenever the new, every year's new edition comes out, right? The new list for that year comes out. So I'm surprised, honestly, because I have, if there was an option to pay, and this kind of a mention on the list has helped me a lot. How it has helped me is it got me into a network where, probably people I would have, I used to consider, or I do consider my, as my idols. They have been on the list, and, being on similar WhatsApp groups, I'm a part of a few channels on Slack, WhatsApp, where other Forbes under 30 listers are there, not only just Asia or India, but North America, which is where I am right now. So I get access to that as well. And being on this list gave me access to those people, gave me access, which helped me do a lot more in the same time, because everything is network, right? When I'm in New York, that's what I hear, just network, right? To build your career here or do anything, probably in the city or anywhere in the world. So it did help me network a lot. So if there was an option to pay to play, I probably would have done it when I was 21 and not 27 or 8, which is when I got in. I mean, literally, I was very close to being out of the age bracket, right? And sadly, and I saw a few of the comments, which was like, the Forbes under 30 list has now, has picked so many people who have gone to jail, right? Thankfully, fortunately, I haven't yet, right? So there's that, touch wood. And also, if we just do a Google search, how many of the names you would see who have been to Harvard, Cornell, Yale, Stanford, all the Ivy Leagues, right? And they have probably made it to jail as well, right? What does that mean? Does that say that we stop, we just discredit everything that Harvard has built for over the last 400, 500 years, or Cornell has, and so on? So this is a very similar thing. People probably, and I was surprised also. One person was very recently discussing this with me, Ekta, that the nature of the crimes committed by people on Forbes under 30 have been very technical, right? So so he was saying that, and I really like the comment that even though they went to jail, but the kinds of things they did were so technical in nature, or were so expansive in nature, were so complicated in nature, that you really need a great deal of experience to be able to crack that, or do those kinds of frauds at that level. So probably there's that, right? So yeah, I mean, if there was, I didn't find a process to pay to play ever in my 20s. Eventually, as you asked about the nomination process, there was a Forbes under 30 China, I think, yeah, China. She worked with me. I did a great deal of work with her, rather, and she knew me, she knew my work, she liked my work. I've always been, supporting her with some stuff, and she was the one who actually nominated me for the Asia list, right? So that's how my process went. But yeah, so that's how the Forbes list works. I would encourage the readers who are still in the 30s, or if any other list that Forbes has, if it has a under 40 or under 50 list, I don't know. I believe they should just actually look into it and see if they get an option to pay. Yeah, if they do, they should feel free to just pay and get in, because the list just helps. But I haven't seen the pay to play option yet.
Of course. I mean, whether you are, sort of getting to that level to be able to commit those financial crimes, not saying that there haven't been Forbes founders that have done that, but
Yeah.
of course, it is very impressive to actually reach that stage and be featured on that list either way. I just want to understand, there's so many applicants out there who see people like you, and myself, I would look up to people like you as well. What is that process actually like? You built your startup, you did everything. How were you able to make it on that list? What was that full process like for you?
Sure. So the entirety of my mention on the list was based on the work I did the last 5 years I was in India, which is when I ran the platform Brew Finance, which was a marketplace for warehouse receipt financing, and where we brought farmers, banks, and lenders in India, and government custodians, government and private custodians, all on chain. On chain means on the blockchain. I'm from the blockchain industry. I'm from the Web3 industry, and then we facilitated real time and lowest cost in the country loans for farmers, and that revolutionized their lives. So my whole mention was on my work during that time, or at Brew Finance as a founder. In fact, a huge focus. So when I got nominated by the person, the one on Forbes under 30 China, then the process started, and I got reached out by the Forbes team, and I think, I don't remember, it was 2 3 years back, I guess, but it got there were a couple of interview rounds, I guess, like, to know more about what exactly the work was, and whether that is worth listing someone on the Forbes list. That is something that they went through, beyond what was probably just mentioned by the person who nominated me, because they would have filled in a very basic form, right. So those calls were set up with me to know more about me and get actual data that what we were doing. So we were in the middle of it. We were doing, so my platform became India's largest blockchain platform to do so. More than $750 million in assets tokenized on blockchain. We were able to help thousands and thousands of farmers revolutionize their lives at that time. Then we were across so many custodians, so many banks on the platform. So I had hard data to show at that time. So that was asked of me. I did submit those data. India's number one business school, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, they did a case study on us, and it was themed, or it was titled, the use of blockchain technology for financial inclusion. So that, and they had also covered a great deal of data in that. So that acted as a resource, and IIM Ahmedabad is as best a name as you can get behind you. So yeah, sadly I couldn't get an admission into IIM Ahmedabad ever, but because it's a long journey and battle, I guess. But thankfully I was we were able to get into a case study there, and that case study was then taught at the university. So that is big. So that made our days or years, you can say. So yeah, so all of this was a part of the process. And then they judge, and it was a long process, I remember. And then eventually they release the list. They don't tell you that whether you made it to the list or not, like after your final interview or anything. You just get to see it on when they release the list, if you're there or not. So technically speaking, I had not seen it. My friend had seen it, and he let me know, because the list, I remember, was released somewhere in US time zone or something. I don't know, even though it was an Asia list. But I remember a friend of mine who had texted me at 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. in the morning that, "Hey, bro, I saw you on this list, man." So I was like, "Oh, really?" And then I got to know.
Of course, congratulations on that. And also, I wouldn't sell yourself short. I know that you've also graduated from Amity University and won India's National Startup Award. So that's another congratulations. I want to know, what was your professional network like before you entered Cornell Tech? And how did you use your MBA to really expand on that? I know that you were also the president of the blockchain club here at Cornell Tech. So what really like moved the needle for you moving to NYC, moving to an MBA program?
Got it. So yeah, my network in India was, in the last 5 6 years, were all Web3 people. So because I have spent more than now 7 years in this domain in my career, in the blockchain and Web3 domain. So my entirety of my network at that time was full of people in this domain itself. Other founders working in this ecosystem, or yeah. So those were the people. I did. So yeah. So all of that, again, you mentioned the National Startup Award. That was again an initiative by the government of India, given to us because of our work for farmers in India, right? Again, as a startup, as a fledgling startup there. Beyond that, beyond that, coming to Cornell, so that network, few people from that network did help me while I was preparing for Cornell as well, right? When I left the startup and then started preparing for Cornell, and then wanted to come here. So which by the way included you as well. I remember seeing your videos at that time. So it's great to be on the channel with you now, a year or 2 years later. So
Yeah.
that's a full circle moment, Ekta. That's great. So congratulations on getting all of this done for all of your viewers. I was one of them, and now I understand that the viewership has increased by 10x, right? So great. So yeah, for me, that was how the Cornell journey was. And then coming here, so I knew that what network meant in India probably is going to mean 5x or 10x here once I'm in New York or once I'm in the US. So that's what I started doing when at Cornell. I started going to events, making sure that I meet people, even, and that's not something that I didn't know about, because here at Cornell also, our careers team or everyone or our seniors, they would always used to say that just network. In the US, so in the US, the universities, unlike in India, here they don't have placement days, or they don't help. They don't bring in companies to help you with career, like it happens in India. So yeah, right. So you have to make that entire network work for yourself, right? So that's what I did. I started going to events. I started meeting people. I started telling them about my past work. Again, I focused heavily on my domain. So I would say to your readers that always choose your domain, prefer, because it's a very short time you're here. If, for example, if I would have gone to say Cornell's 2-year MBA, that would have given me, which you are a part of, right? So that would have technically given me more time to all assess all these avenues. Here 1 year and even less than that, right, with winter break and all, I think I just spent about nine months or 10 months here as a part of the program, right, in New York City. And then I was gone, I was in India for the festival and stuff. So very less time here. I have to focus a lot on what will work really for me, which meant going to events that were highly specialized in my domain, so that I meet people, because I didn't want to leave the industry. Also, many people are looking to change industries when they come for an MBA. Then that's a different story. They then should focus on the new domain that they're going into. But yeah, being at a place like New York City, where if I just open Luma on my phone right now, I would see 10 events happening probably meters away from me, right? So that is great as a location. You've been here, you've been to New York City, so that really helped a lot, right, to meet those people. Also, what helped tremendously, I'm sure we'll talk about this later as well, but what helped tremendously was I got an opportunity to lead the Cornell blockchain conference, which is and this was the 5th edition of the conference, and we did it. This was the most, the biggest we've gone yet. And 1,000 plus people on the Cornell Tech campus, in terms of sponsorships, in terms of experiences created for the audience, as well as the sponsors and speakers. This was massive, right? So that helped me directly get into like inner circles and close to people who and eventually end up in a job, which where I from people I found there. So that's something massive. I would have to talk about that more, but and in fact, people said that is probably the best thing that I could have done on campus here. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I was researching your startup and also researching your company. And especially when it comes to, blockchain and predatory loans that take place in India. For those of our viewers who are not familiar with how farmers' loans work in India, a lot of the times you have something which is called as predatory loans, where you have loan sharks who essentially give out informal loans to farmers. And Abhishek's company actually changed that by implementing a blockchain system. So,
That's right.
what was that entire experience like? How did you come up with that idea? And also, how were you able to sort of raise capital to be able to pitch to traditional VCs here in New York who are unfamiliar with the system of predatory lending in India, and just sort of bridging that cross-cultural divide?
Yeah. So me or my founder, neither of us came from a background of farming, right? So that's there. That's what I, so I never realized or imagined that I would be working for a niche like this, but or a customer segment like the farmers. But yeah, but we came from the blockchain industry. We knew blockchain, what blockchain technology can do, right? So for us, when we came across this use case, but my co-founder was a CFA, right? And then so he had that finance background. He had some commodity trading background. So when we came across this use case, which is called warehouse receipt lending, which is technically one of the oldest products known to mankind, lending products known to mankind, uh, but plagued with frauds, plagued with scams, right? So that's there. When the idea actually came to my co-founder, right? Not me. It was his idea, and he saw that warehouse receipt lending is plagued by frauds, and what does blockchain technology do is help an area prevent frauds, right? Help a niche like this prevent frauds and scams from happening. And because we came from blockchain, so we had that understanding, and we were able to come up with a solution, a product, a SaaS, a SaaS platform, which would eventually mean working with a lot of people at that time, which, say for example, banks or governments who used to run away the moment they hear a word like blockchain. But yeah, eventually we were able to get them on board. We were able to get a ton of government custodians on board, and that's how we started. That okay, this is a technology that can truly help this kind of a customer segment by connecting them with banks, the banks which have tapped out of this ecosystem, because as you said, because of that, predatory loans come into the picture, because the predators know that these farmers do not have access to banking capital. So that's why they become these usurious money lenders are lending to these farmers who are already not well to do, but they're lending at 35%, 40% per annum, right?
Yeah.
Which is why it eventually so many farmers commit suicides, because they are not able to satisfy their financial obligations, right? Eventually, but the banks, when we brought the blockchain ecosystem, we brought banks on board again. The loans we were providing were at 9% per annum, which is one of the lowest in the country. So again, that's how we were able to revolutionize the farmers' lives for the first time ever, using a technology which practically the farmers didn't even understand that what's running behind the scenes. And I remember in my TED talk, which I gave in Mumbai some time back, this came while I was on stage, and and the audience, few people were from Web3 industry, few people were not, but it came while I was speaking, and I told them that, guys, technically speaking, think about it, I myself would have created my first NFT when in 21, 22, whenever, right? I was not big in NFTs like digital art or something, right? So and same for the audience here. So I said that us we would have probably done our NFTs first time in 2020, 21, 22 or so on. But my farmers, so farmers in India who are not tech savvy, who are not very educated in terms of how to use a phone even, right? And that's what we saw. They had their first NFT on their names probably in 2018, 19 when we started. So and they don't know about it, right? So yeah, so that was the story to tell.
Yeah, of course. And, I was also researching the field, and the only thing that I know about NFTs is the crazy art pieces that get sold for millions and millions of dollars. So for all of our viewers here who are not very well versed in blockchain and NFTs, could you just explain a little bit in simple terms, like what exactly your company does and how it's able to help out farmers?
Sure. So what the company did was, what blockchain is basically a technology which is a network with a database component to it, just to explain things easily. But how is it different from a database is because anything that you put on a blockchain network or on a blockchain ledger is immutable, right? It's you cannot go back and change anything. So it's immutable, and that is a characteristic, or that is the characteristic that people use blockchain networks for, primarily to be able to resolve such issues such as frauds and scams in ecosystems where normal databases or traditional technology is not able to solve it, right? So what the startup did was, the company platform did was just, the farmer comes in with the goods, say 500 quintals of wheat, right? And they store it with a government custodian. That gets tokenized on the blockchain network. So basically, there's a receipt that gets created, which earlier used to just get created on an SAP system, which now gets created on our blockchain, our setup blockchain. And then the banks because it's on the blockchain, the banks are able to access that receipt. And banks get to know that because this is on the blockchain, so it is the only copy available. It is an immutable part of data that we are looking at, and not just a copy. So they know know that those frauds which earlier used to happen will not happen with this receipt, and then they're able to give loans against those receipts. And whenever they do so, and the farmers get to request the banks for loans in just one tap, right? A tap to get a loan, and then the ownership gets transferred to the bank, and then when the loan gets repaid, the ownership gets transferred back, which is when they can take the goods out of the warehouse. That's as simple as, as simple a process that can be in this kind of an ecosystem, and that's it, and eventually helps farmers take loans. That's it. So that's how it works. Just the underlying technology is blockchain, and that store the goods, the crops get tokenized as either non-fungible tokens or semi-fungible tokens on the blockchain.
Of course. And also, for people who are international students who are both starting their own ventures and thinking about living in the US long term, what are the biggest issues that you've had to think about, especially when you've been working on either your own ventures or staying in the US long term in terms of visa, legacy status? What has been those sort of hidden headaches that you've had to encounter?
Right. So I think there might be a confusion here, as the timeline follows is that Brew Finance as a platform I did before coming to Cornell. So
Right.
I didn't have to apply for visa for working on Brew Finance when I was graduating out of Cornell, which is just like last month, right? So or a couple of months back, I guess. So yeah, but once I'm here, I can see that now two things. I'm looking for, I'm on F1 visa right now with an OPT extension, or with OPT, and then I would be having STEM OPT to explore, right? Which will give me 3 years of ability to work here. Post that, what students do is they go for H1B visas, which are the work visas, but they have I think a 3-time lottery system. You can apply 3 times, and it's a lottery based system. If you get in, you get in, right? Otherwise, you just have to go back. You have to leave the country. What other options are there are between O1A and EB1. These two options offer slightly a different kind of a visa, and these are called talent visas. And so O1A is actually called talent visa, I think, and this is based on work you've done in the past. With some of the recent or sometime back, changes that have happened to the O1A and the EB1 routes, the administration has made sure that it's slightly easier now for employees to get those, or just people to get those visas, because slightly easier, because now they're accounting, they're considering probably your experience you've done in a country where you were before coming to the US, right? Otherwise, all of my 6-7 years worth of experience would be scrapped, right? Any work I would have done in India would not be applicable, and I'll have to start from scratch here, right? But that's not the case. Secondly, there are O1. I think now that's where it becomes a bit technical, which is when readers should just talk to some lawyer. But I think there are other variations of O1, such as O1B, I guess, where where probably it's not an individual talent, but it's more as being a part of a company or a team which is doing great things, right? So then you can attribute that work to your name as well, because you were a part of the team. Because not everyone is an entrepreneur or has been an entrepreneur in a past life. Not everyone is has all those accolades that someone can get. So they work in teams where they have done great work, but not others separately as an individual, right? So I think that's where that kind of a visa helps a lot. But it's always great to speak with a lawyer. EB1 is directly the green card, right? So it comes way later, but I think another place for readers to look at, especially who are considering coming for their education here, and are uncertain what the future would look like. Yeah, so till the time I'm able to do some great work here, help the ecosystem, help the nation overall by building products or whatever I can, I'll be here, and then I would just have to leave the country and go back.
Of course. And what have been the major challenges that you've faced while you've been going through the MBA program, especially when it comes to sort of just financing your MBA and sort of having to manage your own personal finances throughout the program?
Right. So I did take a loan. I did take an education loan to come here, which is from a US loan provider called Quorum. In fact, Quorum is very popular, and Quorum works with Cornell, I think. So Cornell is very comfortable working with Quorum to get the loans disbursed, which was a seamless experience. But that's a lot of money, seamless for Cornell, I guess. But I still have to pay that. So that's one way of financing. I did get some scholarship, but there was a major part which was still remaining, in to be covered by the loan. Another way is to be able to be a teaching assistant while I'm on campus, right? So that's not much, but that's a good experience first, because you get to sit in on classes where you are not, which are not probably a part of your course or curriculum, or you've not chosen them as an elective, but then as a TA you get to sit there and you get to go through the content even then. Also, you have very you get a very nice working relationship with the faculty who's carrying out that course. And then also, and then you just earn by the hour, which is also not bad. And if you're on campus, why not, right? Instead of sitting at home, just go out and be a TA for one of the courses. So that's great. I even got an opportunity to be a TA for the executive MBA course, or the executive MBA program, where two things. Not only I got I got to sit in on the executive MBA courses, right? But also at the same time, I got access to the students, to the people who are way ahead in life, in their careers than I am, and probably the best people to reach out as I set up a career here, or as I navigate a career here, and hence accessing them was great. But yeah, talking about just the financing part of it, it was majorly loans and some work. Yeah.
Yes, of course. And, I've also kind of been its TA here also on the Cornell Tech campus. So I understand it's a great opportunity for anybody who is sort of deciding for a way to sort of just earn that extra income on the side and also get access to that network. Sort of just speaking of the network that you've established through your startup and also the blockchain conference that you've worked on, what was that experience like? You're in a new country, you're trying to sort of be able to have that cross-cultural divide with what you've worked on in India and then bringing it to New York and sort of just discussing that. What was that experience like at the conference?
Right. So, first of all, I think what the question is looking to, what you're looking to hear here is that probably how the network, I was able to build, and what did I use to do that, right? Or probably what did I discuss? Did I get that question?
Yes. I just want to understand also what that blockchain conference, what that experience was like for you as well.
Sure. I mean, this is one question I've been answering so many times these days because, first of all, plenty of people came to the conference, and this was the first time 1,000+ people came for a conference here, and which is big, right? Which is great. And just even weeks out, we were worried that we won't be able to fill, one of the main event spaces here, which had a capacity of 297 people, right, to be precise. And then we had, and then actually on D-Day we had overflow rooms set up and everything. People were not able to get into the main auditorium, so they went to the overflow rooms and saw the conference on a screen. The vibe was amazing. We had, I remember we had 56 top tier speakers this time. We had a huge amount of sponsorship that we were able to raise, highest ever in the conference's history. And it was great to be a part of that process and to be able to raise those funds and make those experiences happen, get those booths set up and everything. It was a different vibe on the day of the conference. And also, in fact, the experience extends even beyond the conference, which is when, not kidding, every single conference event, whatever I've been to since the conference, which was just 2 months back, right? So in the last 2 months in New York City, wherever I've been to, not just New York City, I remember I did go to the Harvard blockchain conference as well in Boston, and even there. So people literally have, at least one or two people have literally walked up, reached out and said that, oh, you're from Cornell, right? And I was like, okay, are you also from Cornell? Because that's how probably you know me. But they were like, no, we are not from Cornell, but we came to your conference. And it was massive. So hearing that, and just very recently, a friend of mine, he met someone at a very different conference altogether, a tech meetup event altogether, somewhere in the city. And he was pretty he was 61 years old, and he was in the tech industry looking to get into blockchain. And he was telling my friend that I came to your conference, I came to your campus, and I didn't know that there's a Cornell campus in New York City. So many people don't know. People know about your campus, the Ithaca campus, Ekta, right? So
Yeah.
people don't know that there's a Cornell Tech campus here in New York City, Roosevelt Island, and so on. So he said that I didn't know that, but then I came to you because I went to a conference there, which was great, and it was a blockchain conference. So I mean, that getting to hear these things, listen to these things, that really tells you that you did some great work, thankfully, fortunately, and that gives you a lot of inspiration and energy to do some more of that work. So and honestly, we are trying to build on that momentum. We are trying to set up more things. We are trying to set up more events, conferences. There's ETH New York coming up in August, and there are so many other things happening. There are some invite only founder dinners that I'm planning. All of that because of the kind of reception that the conference received, right? So there's always plenty to speak about the conference, and every speaker, every sponsor since then that I've spoken with have said the same thing, that it was an amazing experience to be a part of that conference. And this is in New York City, where people get to attend conferences literally every other day, right? And massive conferences. But yeah, so great to hear that. So that was how the experience was.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great because not only are you able to connect with people just in your industry, you're also able to introduce new people to the blockchain industry. That's also very impressive. And but coming back to what we talked about when we were discussing blockchain, when you were building Brew and also building Brew Finance and Whrrl as well, have you ever experienced any challenges when it came to sort of pitching or trying to sort of hire people or talk about blockchain in general, especially with people who are a bit skeptical about the nuances of blockchain and sort of its value in this industry?
Sure. So I kind of touched on that answer, when I was talking to you about the banks and governments that we needed to get on board. So that was one challenge that we faced, because this was 2018, 19, especially, a time when people were very, very about blockchain and, crypto and other use cases of blockchain, which also helped that for the first 2.5 years, we were a blockchain company, but we never even talked about crypto. We had no crypto involvement there. So that's what, people know about Bitcoin, and then they believe that Bitcoin is blockchain, and it's the same thing, but blockchain is a technology, right? So there was a lot of education and awareness that went in to just make sure that people are on the same page as we are. People stop thinking about us as another Bitcoin platform or something, or a crypto platform or something. So that was a lot of awareness that had to be built. And then gradually, banks started understanding that how this technology can truly help them. We shared other enterprise use cases as well, and we told them that just forget Bitcoin for a bit, because that's a public blockchain, and that's a very specific use case, a very specific crypto use case. We are not even talking crypto with you. We do not have any crypto involvement at this moment. You are going to give loans in Indian rupees, the fiat currency, right? We are not going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, or anything. So that helped a bit, and then they saw the system in action, they saw the demo, and gradually, so it was a tough time to do so, but I guess it would be much easier now that everyone understands blockchain way better than they used to in 2000, like 5, 6, 7 years back. But yeah, so that was there. While hiring, we did face a problem originally or initially, because there were very less blockchain engineers at that time, even now, but at that time there was a huge dearth of blockchain engineers, and so finding them or finding good engineers was difficult. And definitely, because there was a dearth of engineers, whoever was there had to be paid a lot more than you would pay any other software engineer, right? So being a bootstrap startup, so we were bootstrapped from day one. So being a bootstrap startup, we cannot always afford just anyone, or whatever kind of a salary they're looking for. So that was a big challenge, to be able to find someone good. So in terms of hiring, that was a challenge, that to find someone good, but also within our budgets. Other than that, fundraising, we didn't go for fundraising for the first couple of years, to be honest. We were bootstrapped, and we wanted to keep it that way. In fact, the next startup I would ever want to do is also something I would like to bootstrap first, get to a POC, or a working, a profitable place, or at least a revenue making place, and then probably go for raising funds. That's something I've learned works very well as for a product. So that's what I want to replicate here as well, if I do something. And then, in addition to that, something also that really made a lot of sense is this was a financial inclusion and a social impact use case that we were doing. So it was not just names like Forbes that provided the support. There was Government of India, as I said. There was IIM Ahmedabad. There was University of Toronto. There was United Nations Development Program, right? There were so many other, there were some banks, there was some other partners who were looking for startups and looking to help startups who were building in financial inclusion and social impact. So they gave us all these names. They gave us a lot of equity free grants, right? Which was huge, which was 200K in grants. You can you imagine, right? So that was all equity free, and that helped us a lot. Not to just keep our lights on, but also to be able to not raise funds, until a certain time, and then we raised funds, and so it was an overall, I think, a raise of $500,000. So yeah, so that's how it went. But so these were the challenges along the way. But I believe every founder, every entrepreneur faces some shape or form of these kinds of challenges, whichever industry or whichever geography it is.
Right, of course. And while you've been building these ventures, what is some advice that you have for anybody else who's kind of going down that same route and trying to build something, whether in the MBA or say, like you before the MBA, what's some advice that you could share for some of our viewers as well?
Sure. Are these entrepreneur viewers, or are these people who are looking to come to MBAs? What kind of what?
I would say for both, because I've experienced, I've spoken with both of them. Some people like myself are also trying to found something while they're in business school. And also there are people who have their startups before business school and just kind of trying to leverage that
Yeah.
network and leverage those opportunities to make their ventures bigger.
Got it. So two things that come to my mind. Number one, for people who have been entrepreneurs, are looking to found a startup here once they're in the US, or once they are during their MBA, or during whatever program they're coming for, or after that. So programs like the Cornell Tech MBA, or any program at Cornell Tech, the Cornell Tech campus. A huge part of the Cornell Tech experience is also is called the studio experience, right? So as I was a student ambassador for the MBA program, so this is something I used to tell so many people, so many prospective students, that there is a program called Studio, right? And that studio across fall and the spring semester starts from product studio, and then you can branch out, and you can take one of startup studio, or a big co studio, or a pi tech studio. As the name suggests, one is startup focused, one is big tech focused, and one is public initiative focused, right? So all of those experiences are there, and those are meant for students to be to turn into entrepreneurs, or if you're already an entrepreneur, to take your idea further. Many of my batchmates, many of my classmates, they were able to, they did participate in that. They went for, and then they were part of the program. Everyone is a part of that program, by the way, one of these studios. But eventually they went on to participate in the startup awards, right? And those startup awards mean, I think, five startups get selected, or five entrepreneurs get selected, and each gets 100,000 for the startup. So that's great, that's massive, right? So and that's a great opportunity to just outright get running with your business, right? So yeah, plenty of people participated in that, and five of them got that 100K, which is now they are using to build their product here, or just access office space here at Cornell, or access the network in New York City, right? Or get customers. So that's a great way to do. That's one way programs or campuses like the Cornell Tech campus fosters entrepreneurship, while for new students, right? For prospective students. So that's there, right? Other than that, people who have not been an entrepreneur before, and or even if they have been an entrepreneur before, a good idea, which I believe, which also I'm trying to follow, is that once you're coming here, this is a new geography. Irrespective of the amount of work I've done as an entrepreneur in India, this is still a new geography for me, right? So and demographics are very different. The niche is very different. Everything is different. The fundraising models are very different. The approach that people take is very different. So there are so many variables here, right? So what I believe is they can spend some time in after their program in understanding the market, and that they can do by joining an amazing company in a great role. Say, for example, in a role where you are a product manager of a company, of a product, where you're able to see what the kind of users you're serving, right? Or just get into partnerships and talk to businesses if it's a B2B product, or if you have a knack for enterprise products, or B2B products. So get that running 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever you feel like doing, and at that time see what the ecosystem looks like. During my 1 year at Cornell, and even now, I'm able to see how exactly the startup ecosystem works. Even by doing events like the ones I mentioned to you earlier, I'm able to bring in more founders and VCs and investors and angels, all of them together at times for for a meetup or a dinner or something, and I can see that what it's like without even being an entrepreneur at this moment myself, right? And so technically this is also entrepreneurial, because all these events that I do are actually a part of an LLC. So I did go that route, set up an LLC, and make sure that I'm able to host these experiences and curate these experiences, right? So it's still entrepreneurial, but probably this is not the final thing that I want to do here, right? So that's why. But yeah, so they can be a part of these ecosystems and then see that what the market looks like, and then go about starting something of their own with better understanding of the market and better relationships, because with relationships you can raise funds this way, right, this quick. Without that, there's a long battle, right? So yeah.
Of course, yeah. And now that you've graduated and you've accomplished so much, what's next for you after your MBA?
Again, honestly, it has to be, I am someone who has to be in the Web3 industry. I like it so much. I'm fortunate to be to have come into this industry early on, so that experience really counts. In fact, all the interviews that I'm giving right now, all say for example, all opportunities that I'm eyeing right now, people I'm talking to, most of these conversations, I'll be very honest with you, Ekta, are around my work that I've done in Web3 in India for 5 to 7 years, 5 to 7 years before coming to Cornell. In fact, honestly speaking, most of those conversations have not been around what I did during the MBA program, which is good, bad, I don't know, right? And I don't know what it's going to look like when I interview more, but that's the reality, right? So they were more interested not in this 1 year that I've spent at Cornell Tech, but what I did in this industry prior to that in India, which is a very different geography, a different part of the world, right? So that speaks volumes about what you should expect. Now, that's when I'm trying to be in the same industry. If I want to change the industry, then obviously the new industry or the new interviews in that industry will not be about my past work, because they don't have anything to do with what I've done in blockchain. If I'm literally going into e-commerce, for example, right? At that time, probably it would be about what I have studied at Cornell, how it was, what it meant, and all of that, right? But this is just sharing what it has been for me. So going forward, I'm also looking for, will absolutely would want to stay in New York City, no doubt. New York City, I'll tell you, and I'll want to be close to Cornell as a campus as well. Why? I'll tell you that. And that this was the focus of our Cornell Blockchain Conference as well. The conference was actually not called Cornell Blockchain Conference this time. It was called US Innovation in Crypto Conference 2025, right? So why that is because what I or someone like me or our group or people in this industry from Cornell would like to see is Cornell become what Stanford was, has been to Silicon Valley, right? The kind of role Stanford has played to SF and to Silicon and to BA and to Silicon Valley, that kind of a role Cornell is not only just absolutely positioned well, but is already in the making to make that happen, to be that kind of a player in for the New York City's ecosystem, which is is fledgling right now, right? With the new, and also not just New York, right? With the US and the new administration being so pro crypto and pro Web3 and pro blockchain, you can hear last couple of weeks back, I went to 3 different conferences happening at the same time, and all 3 conferences had one speaker who was Eric Adams, the mayor, the former mayor of New York City, right, and of New York, and he was talking about his support for crypto and what he thinks how blockchain and Web3 and crypto can help. So you see the flair right now, you see the vibe right now, and that's all. So absolutely want to stay in New York City. I want to be in the Web3 industry. I want to do some great work. I want to meet great people. I want to see what they are doing and see how I can help, how my past experience can help, and see, and that could be in anything that I've done. Thankfully, as an entrepreneur, fortunately, I've donned plenty of hats. So I'm not restricted to product roles. I'm not restricted to partnership roles or say operations roles. All of this I've done as an entrepreneur, and also an MBA is a program that helps you build these areas together, right? So it's basically so yeah, it's everything packed into one. So yeah, so that's the kind of roles I would be looking for.
Of course. And, you have a lot of experience in this industry, both having your own startup and working in this industry extensively, organizing conferences. Where do you think the cryptocurrency, the crypto industry is headed in the future, the Web3 industry? Like, what do you think's, new or the newest trends in this industry?
Yeah, so Ekta, in terms of crypto or blockchain, what is happening is a lot of enterprise use cases are coming up, which the general people doesn't get to know about, right? So for example, I'll just give you an example. Let's talk about India, right? Every person that I've either taught, so I teach blockchain as well, right? And I've taught thousands until now, and not one class, I would tell you, knew about this, right? What is it? It is that in India, the entire telecom network is currently using blockchain technology. No one has a clue, right? Why? Because they don't talk about Bitcoin. They don't work with Bitcoin. They don't have an involvement of cryptocurrency, but they have an involvement of blockchain. They use blockchain technology to do so. So all the telecom providers are nodes on a blockchain network, and so on and so forth, right? So these kinds of enterprise use cases, even though are not all that shiny, like cryptocurrency and meme coins and like Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and all of those are, or NFTs are, like the People's Art piece which sold for $69 million and so on. Not everything is so shiny, but then the shiny things don't have, don't preserve their luster for long, right? So I'm very much into enterprise use cases. So for example, in my conference, we had speakers from places like CoinTracker, from places which is a crypto tax platform, like TurboTax for Web3. People don't know about, how much work is being done in taxation for crypto, but they are a 100 million Series A company. Can you imagine that, right? So and recently raised a couple of years back. So so this tells you that even though these are not very shiny use cases, I had other people. For example, I had people from DeepIn networks, which are physical networks on the blockchain, so decentralized physical networks or physical infrastructure. For example, if you connect your car to the blockchain, that's a DeepIn network. If you connect the electric grid to the blockchain, that's a DeepIn network, right? That kind. These use cases are not shiny as crypto or NFTs are, but these use cases are very important, and investors know. That's why, again, the example, why did CoinTracker, a tax platform, raise $100 million, even though people are not using it on a daily basis, like as a shiny product, is because VCs understand that this is the future, right? You need to do taxes, so you need a platform like that. Similarly, the world is coming on chain, so you need DeepIn networks and so on. So yeah, so that's what I've seen and work, and I would love to work in those areas.
Of course, and it sounds like you're doing a great job in that area, and I'm excited to see what you do next, honestly. But thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to have this conversation with me. I definitely think that it would be great for our viewers and for myself. I feel like I learned a lot in this conversation as well. So thanks so much, and thank you all for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, it was nice to be on the channel.
That's all for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video and you like all my other videos, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.